Senator Mikulski.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shelby, and I appreciate that warm introduction. Yes, this is for me, my final scheduled hearing of now what is called the CJS Subcommittee on the budget of such an inspirational agency, the National Space Agency. I came to this committee I came to the Appropriations Committee in 1987, and was one of the first women to serve on this committee. Now there are so many able on both sides of the aisle who continue to serve. When I came to this committee or subcommittee, it was called the VA HUD Subcommittee, VA HUD, an independent agency. And I wanted to be on it because I so loved America's veterans and wanted to help them the way I could. I wanted to be on a committee that funded HUD because I come from the gritty streets of Baltimore and had worked as a social worker, and I knew what a powerhouse that HUD could be for economic development and job opportunity. And then there were those independent agencies, one called NASA. I didn't know a lot about NASA. I knew we had the Space Telescope Institute in Baltimore. It was just the beginning of it. And of course, in my campaigns, I'd come to hear about something called Goddard. Well, Goddard and me, from early on to now, this fabulous place for the study of science. So from VA HUD to CJS, we've been here. And I'm so proud of the men and women that have worked here. And though I knew little about the space program, I certainly learned a lot to get started. Today, I'm going to pay a special tribute to Senator Jake Garn. When I came to this committee, this subcommittee, it was chaired by Senator Garn, a Republican from Utah, a senator who himself had flown into space. What a wonderful human being. He was gracious in his welcoming, and he was patient in his tutorial. Between he and John Glenn, I learned so much about the American space program and what it took to be great. Not only great to be a great agency and in spaceflight, but how great men can make great things happen. And since then, we have had a forged bipartisan relationship. I'm very grateful for what Senator Garn did. And then I could work hand in hand with my own colleague, Senator Kit Bond. And then, of course, there was a unique friendship that I was able to develop with Kay Bailey Hutchinson as we put together our space coalition. And then you, Senator Shelby, you. You know, we know each other from Energy and Commerce House of Representatives days. It was the incubator of senators. Now, there were a lot of people in that committee that they saw rising stars that were a lot more glamorous. They were on all the editorial boards, favorite dial list, and they were on their way to be president. But we were on our way to being very solid senators. And from you, we have had such a superb relationship. I appreciate, again, the gracious way that you've governed, to get to know your wife, Annette, to get to know Huntsville, Alabama, where it's the only community in America that has its own foreign policy. And if you've ever been to the Paris Air Show, you know it. But because we have worked together, having the zone of civility, mutual respect, we've been able to do mutual accomplishments. I've been proud of this committee. I've been proud of the way we've helped transform the FBI, modernize the Weather Service, focusing on violence against women and making sure that we have more cops on the beat and that they have the right equipment. How we fought waste and fraud from $5 meatballs and $16 bagels to reducing the patent backlog. We certainly have done a lot. We've seen great accomplishments and great challenges. When I came to the committee, it was just days away from the terrible, terrible Challenger accident. Yet at the same time, whether it was the Challenger, whether it was the Columbia, whether it's the Hubble telescope that needed the most expensive contact lens in American history, we were able to solve those problems because we worked together. We've seen great discoveries, but I will tell you one of the greatest discoveries was getting to know the American space program from the astronauts who dare to go where no one has ever gone before, to then deliver the greatest discoveries in science to all those who work in space science and in aeronautics. I'm particularly proud of them. I'm grateful for what Maryland has been, from Goddard to APL to the Space Telescope Institute to WALBS. The greatest discovery has not only been what's out there, with the wonderful men and women who work right here. And I look forward to hearing your appropriations, probably your last appearance before here. And all I can say is, may the force be with us.